Hey guys, welcome to a special night edition of Tighten Up RC. So tonight I'm going to show you how to take apart your Savage X transmission. You go from nitro to brushless. Stick around. This is my Savage X. It used to be nitro. It is brushless currently, however, it has not been completely converted. It has the ESC in it, everything, motor, the whole nine, but it also has the brakes still hooked up. And that's because the transmission has not been done. But I'm going to show you how to do it tonight, guys. Right, let's get started. So, what I'm going to be using for this is primarily this. It's idler gear. Hopefully the part number shows up pretty good. But what you're going to get in this off here for now. Second, just so you can see what this entails. So this is an idler gear 44 tooth shaft set for an HPI Savage. Alright, you get the gear, all metal. Idler shaft. Two washers, or spacers, whatever you prefer to call them. You get 3 C-clips, 3 pins. Side. Hopefully I don't lose them during this whole process. Alright, let's get this culprit back on the table. First thing I'm going to do, take the wheels off. Using 5/16. I know it's not the right size for this, but it works, it grips, I'm happy. Firstly, what I'm doing is going to take off the wheel nuts first. And these are actually technically, we're going to call them a 17mm hex. Although if you mic them up, they're not exactly 17. Alright. One wheel off. 2 wheel off. Now you can see they are kind of weird. They're not your typical 17. See how this whole deal comes off. Sure, if you have one of these, you know this already, but I like to be a little thorough. See, so it's kind of got like this nut that actually sits inside that. This guy off. Don't worry if your hex comes out with it. Mine, I actually, believe it or not, I actually glued my back one in. Some super glue around the edge so that way it didn't eat up the hex. Some people have had success too with hot glue actually, to kind of get between inside the, I want to take this out just so I don't lose it. Next thing is, let's get this transmission out. So, what I'm going to do is, I am going to loosen this grub screw right here. Not sure if you can see that little grub screw that's right behind that little brake. You're definitely going to want to loosen that. I'm actually going to loosen the front and the rear. I believe it's a 2 mil. Should be a 2 mil. Yep, it's a 2 mil. It's actually like a grub pin, really. I'm gonna take that and put that off to the side over here. Just gonna use a spin here so I can get this around to this one. It's the only thing, because it doesn't have the reverse. It's kind of like a lock. If you go past it, you gotta spin the whole thing back around. Okay, so hopefully this allows me to easily take this transmission out. We shall see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these 4 screws right here on each side, so that's a total of 8 screws. And I'm hoping that the transmission should come out rather easy. There we go. 1. Stuff in here. A lot of spooge in there. I apologize if the camera moves. I'm kind of doing this on a foam board on top of a table. So, just being real. Flip it over. Do the same thing on the other side. So your screws, your bottom screws are going to be shorter than the upper screws. So they're going to be about that long on the top. Not sure if you can really tell. Oh, there we go. It's going to be about that short on the bottom. Okay, we got those 4 out. What else may I need to remove before this comes out? Let me take a stab and say I'm going to remove this. Or not. This may work. I know, right? You just destroy that screw, why don't you? Well, to be honest, it's not going back in. There we go. guess if you really wanted to. Not really sure if this actually needs to come out. Every video I've ever watched anyway says it's got to come out, so it's going to come out. But I mean, if you really wanted an interesting mod, I guess you could leave the brake in there. Here we go. Pop right out of that. I think that's definitely going to make it a little easier to get out, though. Tuck you over here. Alright. Let's see if this will come out like so. Handle. Well, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Well, I guess I'm going to have to take this plate off. So, it would usually be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. I'm missing that one. Okay, I'll replace it with something else. Hopefully you can see this. Hopefully it's at a decent angle. Brake screw, not going to need that. Okay, so we got that one, about that long. Here, voodoo. Okay, this goes to the chassis. I'm going to take this one out. Bottom one. Take this guy out up here. Right there. We'll say they do come out rather easy. I haven't had to really manhandle any of them out yet. Watch. I say that, but then all of a sudden something will happen. Oh, yep, jinxed myself on that. This one does it. This one will come out. So I had to get this one out and this one out. A little hard with the screwdriver, but oh, nice. Right out with the ratchet. This tool is coming very handy. So you got this one I used to work on tricycles, recumbent bikes. Well, everything except for the 1.5. Well, it's really nice to have for this because it can get into spots you normally can't get into with a regular screwdriver. You also have your leverage. And then I can get in here. Ta-da! We're out. Now, that plate right off. Remember which way it goes. I'm just going to put it off to the side just like this so that way I know exactly how it goes back on. Alright, now, let's see, what else do we have to do? I see it. Okay, there's 2 more screws that go into this plate. right here, and this should essentially drop the transmission off of that. Bang. One. Feel it. That'll come out. Okay. See if I can get this brake out of here. That in the parts you will not need again. Now, I'll need this. Split. Jeez, what's holding this up? Bloody hell. Okay. Oh, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Pop this out of here. That was easy. And then we're going to let that fall out of there. Bang. Rear. Just going to leave the front end now. Proceed with taking off this screw. You're not going to need this. So that's what you got right now. You want to remove this, get your brake. You're going to want to pull this off if you can. Because once you go to do these gears, this is actually going to hold you up. Almost. Nope. Didn't need it anyway. Alright. There's your transmission. That's the meat and potato part of it. I'm going to take this screw, put this back in here. I'm just going to move this out of the way. This shaft. Okay, we're going to take out this screw right here, and there's another screw right there. There we go. Oh, it's so pretty. Y'all might hate me right about now, because I kind of hate myself. I kind of feel like I didn't really have to take that whole thing apart the way I did. Because after taking them two screws out, I literally left the top of this thing in. There you are. That's the top. And we're inside. You're going to pull out this entire cluster right here. Left with just that gear down there. Set that off to the side. And whenever I take something apart, always make sure I just kind of lay the parts in a way so I know how they're going to go back in. Like this. I know that bearing went there. I know that bearing went there. I'm steering it like this. Now, I'm going to mention this because I've seen it done, and you can either do this mod with this gear, or what I have heard and seen, there's someone else who did it, you can take a screw, screw it into one of these holes. I believe it's this one right here, the deeper one anyway, and that'll virtually kind of lock this, and then you can, you know, either throw some JB weld in it, or it'll maybe have a little bit of jiggle, but it'll still act like a locked transmission. In theory, don't quote me on that. It sounds pretty logical. Okay. Now the whole reason why I want to lock this is there's no reverse. So I'm going to pop this C-clip first. Hopefully I don't lose it. Oh, what am I doing? Use the pick. It's probably easier. There we go. Find it a lot easier with a pick to do it. You take this gear, you're going to keep that. And you take this, put it away for a rainy day, just in case if you ever want to rebuild this thing back to gas powered. Okay, here we go. Have your shaft. See them 3 holes? Very important. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of those C-clips. Nice new one. I'm going to put it on here. On the bottom one. See if I can do this without losing it. Okay, 3 holes. That's going on the bottom. Then you're going to take one of your pins. You're going to put it in closest bottom hole right here, like that. You're going to take your gear, line it up with that. That kind of drop right in there. And then what you're going to do, you're going to take your washers or your shims, however you would like to call them. I'm going to try 2. Then you're going to take your other pin right here. You're going to slide it in here. You want to make sure that's fairly tight into that. Then you're going to take the gear that you took out. You're going to drop it right on top of here. Make sure that's centered. Okay, now you should have just enough room, hopefully if the camera will focus, to get the C-clip into here. Take that C-clip, line, there we go, make sure that's on there. And there you go, you just locked your transmission. Oh Lord, big things are happening. Okay, now once you got all that in there and together, you take your bearings. One on one end, one on the other. You drop it in. You can keep it like that, it's got a little bit of play. But if you want to get rid of the play, just take another washer that should ride on that race. Right here on that edge, the inside of the bearing. I just drop it right down in here. Take this, slip that down in there. No more jiggle. It's nice and tight in there. And what I like to do, take a little bit of assembly lube, a little bit of lube on the gear, Get it prolongs the life of them a little bit more. Not crazy amount, just a little bit. Makes it sound so nice. You can do it to this. Just a little. Alright. Now, this should just drop right in. This way. Okay. Just like that. Here will sit on top of that. This will sit on top of this. Take your screwdriver. There we go. I said you take your screwdriver, tighten it back in real nice. As my old buddy Panama Eddie used to say, "Look this." So nice. Okay, and that's how you convert your Savage X transmission. And if you spin this, you'll see you'll have forward and reverse. Alright, let's put this thing back together. Alright guys, here we go. The rebuild. One other thing. You can pull this pin out now. That's nothing. That was your brake pin. Not going to need that either. Okay. Now, let's get this thing back together. Push this in a little bit. 1, 2. Take this drive shaft and load it into here. See if we can find its happy place. Virtually what I'm doing is I've just kind of slid that back in so it lines up into these grooves going towards the trans. Okay. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, get this thing situated on here, put this pin in. Right there. I can't remember. There is one side that's threaded and one side that isn't. I'm going to go for this one and see what happens. Just hope I guessed right. Well, obviously not with that one. 1.5. That ain't going to do it. Just a 2mm. Must have chose right. Now I'm going to do that same thing to the front one. Let's see here. The big end will be the side you screw into, obviously, because that's the head of it. I'm going to turn this. Now obviously this isn't actually an option on these. I don't think you can actually have these crossed up or anything because the shafts actually line up perfect. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take it, slide this in like this, kink this up like this, Try to slide that back in there, like so. Still in there. Oh, there we go. That's where I need to be. Bang. Okay. See, I left them two little screws in over here so I wouldn't lose them and I'd know exactly where they went. And it comes time to put this back together. Now, I'll take this, line this up. Get this to pop in. Spread that a little bit. There we go. Stand. Oops. Oh, I see. I think this actually goes underneath this. Oh, okay. That would make... Ah, there we are. There's the gold standard right there. Stuff that back in. There we go. There we go. Take them two screws wherever they may be. One. That one back in there. The other one down. There it is. Apologize for that. There we go. Now it should line up perfect. Just needed to hear that pop. Bang. Oh yeah. Yeehaw, we're rolling now. Alright, let's get this plate back on. Actually, I'm going to take this servo horn out of here. Not going to need this servo anymore. But I'll take that out at a later date. Okay. Now, this should be the easy part. Should be. We shall see. Put this on right? Yep. X is towards the front. This has kind of an area where this pops back in. And then this should pop in back here. Hear that little pop? And what I would do is I would take your two ends first. Drop that in. You should be able to get it without actually having to move the springs, the shocks or whatever, fairly easily. Okay, or not. We're going to do that one by hand real quick. get it at least started, not cross-threading things. Once you cross it, you lost it. Guys, screwdriver's just not working. I'm going to go at it with this. Guys, I am not going to attempt to sit here and loosen up all the springs and all that craziness. It's just not going to be me. There we go. Tiny screwdriver. Okay. Whew. That was rough. Alright. Now, the rest of it should be kind of easy. Just button these in. Okay. 1, 2 big bad mamma jammas right there. Okay. Next big one. Next big one's over here. Okay. Now we just got to do these. One right here. One right here. Remember, smaller ones are on the bottom. And I would say what the heck and do them at the same time. That way you don't even get them confused. I'm gonna flip you over. Okay. Now, take our brace, put that back on. That's about right, right? That way, this way. Oh, okay, there we go. Just sort of has its own little happy spot. Now, 1, 2. Okay. 2 tops over here. Okay. Oh, two more. This one right here, I believe. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Alright, two more. This guy right here. And this guy right here. Okay, there we have it. We're all back together. Now my mesh should be pretty good because, well, I didn't change it. So, it seems pretty good. Seems like she's rolling. Alright. Well, I guess now, all that's left is drop a battery in it and see how she runs. Alright guys, it's the end of another Tighten Up RC video. Unfortunately, it's a little late. I just got it back together on the shelf. It's like 1 in the morning. So yeah, definitely no running tonight. But stay tuned because I'm going to shoot another video and I'm going to run this on 2, 3, and 4S. As always, like and subscribe. Have a good one, guys.